Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. It's a Wednesday edition, and that means Corn Dog. Johnny Cornell himself will be joining us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We're going to bring back Terry Norvelle from College Sports Today, talk a little baseball with him being a former baseball player, College World Series. Also get his thoughts on all this stuff going on with the NCAA. But first, let's go to the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, and we're joined by Ron Polk himself. There's Ron Polk from Mississippi State.
What a night, man. I forgot to get my bell for you, the bell that my son gave me, the cowbell. I forgot to bring you that. But this morning, QB, I'm on a rotating hat basis with all the teams that I support this time of year that are currently winning.
You would have to have 12 hats.
We have the Phoenix Suns, who had a miracle finish last night. We'll talk about that. We have the Atlanta Hawks, who tripped up those sorry Philadelphia 76ers. And we have the glorious Tampa Bay Lightning, who took charge of the New York Islanders. 8-0. They went for 2 and made it. And here we go to Game 6, where Tampa Bay eliminates New York, and all those pasta-eating, pizza-loving New York Islander fans up in Hempstead, New York, at Borelli's.
Well, where is your Montreal Canadiens hat?
We do not support the enemies. No, we don't support Canadians. They're
up 3-2. I figured you'd like them.
No. Why would you figure that? There are some teams, believe it or not, QB, that I refuse to support. So we will not be supporting them. But I'll tell you, that finish last night, there were 2 specific things. One I saw and one I didn't see. I did not see how the Phoenix Suns finished off the Clippers with less than a second left on an inbounds pass to Ayton, who dunked the ball before the clock ran out. I can only imagine what happened to me last night, QB, was that the last 30, 45, 50 seconds of that fourth quarter took about a half an hour because they had to review every single trip down court with the replay. But that dunk, you just watch it on the highlights on ESPN. It was unbelievable. And then, of course, we had a baseball game where you basically had a team that was left for dead, that couldn't hit the baseball out of the infield, explode in the 8th inning, and beat the Virginia Cavaliers. I couldn't believe the 2 home runs that they hit in the 8th inning that put them ahead 5-4. I think Mississippi State now sits in a great position because they get 3 days off. They don't play again until Friday. So that's going to give them an advantage to get Will Bednar back into the scheme for perhaps one more win to get to the final series.
Well,
3 more wins.
Interesting.
What
you failed to mention was Virginia had a no-hitter with 5 outs to go in the game, a no-hitter.
All right. I mean, Mississippi State basically couldn't hit the ball out of the infield. It was unbelievable, the pitching. This Griff McGarry, who was pitching, went into that game with an ERA of 6, and he had their number. He was mowing everybody down. He walked somebody, I think it was Cumbus in the 8th, and then the wheels started coming off the axle for Virginia. And Mississippi State, you have to give them some credit. Their relief pitching is what kept them in the game, because they're going down 4-0 early in the game, and they're unloading their bullpen. I think they had something like, I don't know how many, 8, 9, 10 pitchers throw. It felt like, anyway. And they kept Virginia at 4. If you can keep a team at 4, you always have a chance to tie the game at any given point when you're batting, because a grand slam would tie the game. So they kept Virginia at 4 runs, and that allowed them to finally figure out how to get some hits going. And when Rowdy Jordan hit the ball over the center fielder's head, then it was on. I don't know what the base runners were doing there in that situation, but it didn't matter because they still were able to get the 3-run homer from the SEC Player of the Year. And Mississippi State, tell me his name again. Why does it escape me? Tanner.
You got Rowdy Jordan and Tanner Allen.
Tanner Allen goes deep with 2 on, after Jordan hit that double that should have scored the guy from first, but didn't. But it didn't matter because they all scored and went ahead 5-4 to stay. And then when you got Logan Sims coming in, Landon Sims, excuse me, you get him coming in throwing heat. Look, Mississippi State, it was so important to win that game because here's what would have probably happened if they had lost. And this is what's going to happen to Virginia. They're going to end up losing to Texas tomorrow. So Texas is going to have to beat Mississippi State twice now to get to the finals. That gives Mississippi State an advantage on the pitching rotation, on every other angle. The winner's bracket is so important in this situation, and that's why NC State and Mississippi State are certainly in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I still think Vanderbilt's going to pull away.
They could win. I mean, they got to play. They've got to play Stanford. I don't know what it is about Stanford that's so good, but Stanford has shown an ability in the postseason to be really good. They showed a map last night, QB. I don't know if you remember seeing this during the game, if you were watching it, of all the schools since 1967, I want to say, that have won College World Series championships, and it's dominant in the Pac-12. It's dominant in the Pac-12 with basically four schools. You got the two Arizonas have 4 championships. Stanford, I think, has 5, and USC has 8. In the SEC since 67, all you've got is South Carolina with 2, Vanderbilt with 2, Florida with 1, and give me the other one, QB. Do you know?
What was the question again?
Okay. It wasn't a question. I was going to say, well, it is, but the question, I guess, would have been, since 1967, I told you about the Pac-12 and all those teams that have won World Series. In the SEC, you've got South Carolina with 2 championships, Vanderbilt with 2 championships, the Florida Fighting Gators with 1 championship. What's the other school? Oh, you've got LSU with 6. And then what is the other SEC school to have won a College World Series championship? There's only one other.
SEC, that would be, gosh.
And it was an upset.
Georgia. Didn't Georgia win one?
Absolutely. Yeah. Good job. Yes, that is it. Georgia won 1, Florida won 1, Carolina 2. You had Vanderbilt now with 2, even though they've played in 3. And you've got the LSU Tigers who have 6.
Well, here's the thing: is Mississippi State has never won a national championship in any sport at their university, and now they sit in the driver's seat finally to do this. And what's crazy is their new coach. I can't even think of his damn name. He's been the head coach for 3 years.
Chris Lemonis.
They've been there. He's been the head coach for 3 years. They've been to Omaha all 3 years.
Yeah, no, listen, great job. He's done a fantastic job there. I tell you, that they've done is concentrate on pitching, and they've had some really great players, a couple of really great players. You had that center fielder that was, that left last year, the little guy, Jake Mangum. And then, of course, now you have this Tanner Allen. That 3-run homer last night, they turned the lineup over last night in the 8th inning. It was the last thing you would have expected watching that game, to have 5 runs in the 8th. I was just thrilled. I was thrilled. And then, as I said, the Phoenix Suns, how in the hell they won that game down 1 with less than a second left? Are you kidding me? I mean, DeAndre Ayton, of all people, you know him. But the problem,
you know where he went to college?
No, I don't. Where?
He went to Arizona.
Well, the thing is, that game, it seemed like every single 10 seconds they're reviewing something. I couldn't stay awake. I fell asleep and missed the most exciting play.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't see it. I was asleep. I went to bed as soon as the end of the Mississippi State game.
Yeah.
I don't know why they have to start these NBA games at 8:30 and 9 o'clock.
It's absurd. And it's absurd. I mean, the hockey games start at 8 o'clock. It's hard to stay up. It's just absurd why they do this. But that play, they're down. It's a last second alley-oop, and they're down a point with 0.07 seconds left. Jay Crowder makes this pass to DeAndre Ayton. I just go watch the highlight. It was just a boom, boom, boom.
Sounds like Monty Williams drew up a pretty good play.
Yeah, it was amazing. The Clippers, they got to be heartbroken with that one. The Clippers really, without Kawhi Leonard, still are playing great basketball. But this was a hard one. I don't know if they can get over this one.
Yep. So JC, also, tonight, can the Lightning finish it up?
Oh, that absolutely can. I mean, for the first time you saw in the series, the Tampa Bay Lightning played 5-on-5 hockey like they're capable of playing, like what took them to the Stanley Cup championship last year. And in Game 5, New York had no answers. When you get out to a quick lead and then you proceed to bury that team, you don't keep them hanging around like these guys did when the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 7 couldn't put them away. These guys hung around and hung around and hung around. And at the end, the pressure got too much for Philadelphia. They choked, and the Hawks did it. So you got the Hawks and the Bucks, right? But right now, as we rotate, the Lightning are going to Game 6 in New York, and they're going to bury them. They're going to bury them tonight. It's over. Vasilevsky, by the way, there was a stat that he is 11-0 after losing a game as a playoff goalie for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think the Lightning are something like 6. This could be wrong. I know the 11-0 stat. He's now 12-0 because they won the game the other night in a shutout. When Tampa gets it going on 5-on-5 and they get their forecheck, forget it. They're the best team in hockey. Everybody knows it. I'm wrong so far about this Montreal-Vegas thing. I can't understand why they would pull Robin Lehner out of the net and put back in Fleury, who is not effective against Montreal. But they did that last night, and they got smoked 4-1. So I would expect Robin Lehner back in the net for Vegas. I think the Lightning finish off the Islanders. Nice little season for the Islanders, but it's over tonight. Sorry.
Well, we'll see. You never know. I mean, the Islanders have won more games than we all thought. So
they're good. I mean, they're pretty good.
Go back the other way, Evan. Go back. You just had it right, Evan. Go back the other way. Yeah, leave it like that. Perfect. All right. I'm talking to my producer here, trying to get things situated on the computer. He's hacked into my computer. Gene says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. The JC Hat Shuffle is tremendous. It reminds me of the Carrot Top Vegas show.
Well, you know, it's
I don't know if I've ever watched Carrot Top, but
no, we don't watch that. But you know, these are the teams that I'm jumping on the bandwagon with. This one I have every right to. The other ones, well, this one too. These two, though, I'm pulling for because they've never won squadoodly. Hawks have never won in Atlanta. They did in '58 with St. Louis. These guys are perennial losers every year. You and I have a good friend for some reason who loves these guys. I don't know how or why he does, but he does. They've never won anything. Good for them. Hope they can do it. If these two play in the finals, that would be great. And the Milwaukee Bucks, too. That's another losing franchise. Last championship was 1971, and I think his name was Lou Alcindor. And, of course, he turned into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But that's who the Milwaukee – I think they had Bobby Dandridge on that team. That was and maybe I'm dating myself here. It could have been a different era or a different team. I'm pretty sure Alcindor was on the Milwaukee Bucks back in '71. You can look it up. Nobody cares right now. But the thing is that these teams have never won anything. They're awful, and now they have a chance to win championship. I think it's great.
Yeah, refresh your vehicle and your brand with the vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. June is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Speaking with JC on the Titan More hotline. If you got a Facebook Live comment you want to shoot us or a text message, do that. And we have a text on the Titan MR text line. Comes from our good friend Daryl. Oh, bandwagon JC. I can't believe it. Wait, I can't it for the day when he gets an Auburn hat. I can't wait for the day he gets an Auburn hat.
There are some things that don't happen, that will never happen, that will not happen. Montreal Canadiens hats will not be on here. Auburn Tiger hats certainly will never be on here. I'm not really Boston Red Sox hats will never be on here. So those are three you can disqualify right off the bat. They will never, ever, ever, ever be on this head right here unless this head is dead. And if this head is dead, someone else will have to put an Auburn Tiger hat on there.
All right, I'm going to do that.
That would
make sure I do that.
That would be considered desecration of the dead, and you would go to jail. So that's not going to happen. The Auburn hat, the Montreal hat, the Boston Red Sox hats, never, ever, ever, ever. So,
JC, I want to get your thoughts. I don't know if you've seen it, and I just saw some highlights of it yesterday. You know, I mentioned to you the other day in the Major League Baseball, they're trying to crack down on substance on pitchers' hats, belts, sunscreen, whatever it is. Did you see what they've done to some of these pitchers? There was one dude from the Oakland A's. The umpire came out to him. He basically took his belt off, dropped his pants, and pulled his shirt up.
It's assault and battery. I mean, basically, it's assault and battery. And I think it gets carried too far. You know, it's funny how they're so worried about these pitchers when all we see is baseballs flying out of the stadium, right? You watched the Padres the other night, another great team that I'm starting to really love. They bombed the Dodgers. They bombed the I almost said a bad word, but they bombed the Dodgers. You've got Tatis, you've got Machado hitting balls, you know, into the Pacific Ocean. But it's time to accost Max Scherzer, who's really upset about this. Could you imagine Kurt Schilling coming off the pitcher's mound and getting basically accosted, assault and batteried by an umpire? I mean, could you think about that? Could you imagine Sparky Lau, Rich Gossage, some of those great Yankee pitchers being assaulted by these umpires? It's I think it's gone a little too far, if you ask me.
Yeah, we got a Facebook Live brought to you by Melton Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. John says, QB, on our conversation on Monday about the expectations for Dan Mullen and the 10-win seasons and the New Year's Six bowl appearances, I'd like to add that if the college football playoff had moved to 12, Mullen would have been in the playoffs every year. I'm not sure they would have been in the playoffs last year.
You don't think so? After the SEC
they would have had 3 losses.
I think after the way they played Alabama in that SEC championship game, it would have been really hard not to send them somewhere on a 9 through 12 seed. On a 9 through 12 seed, they would have gone somewhere.
Well, let's think about this. Let's think about this real quick. It's a good conversation. So you would have had the 5 conference champs, which Florida would not have been one of them. You would have got Coastal Carolina would have been in.
Mm-hmm. They ran
Iowa State. Iowa State gotten in?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They would have, because they were ranked. I saw a mock. What would it have looked like if we had done this last year somewhere? And I thought I saved it. And if I did, I can help you out on what it would have been last year. But just off the top of my head, it would have been really hard for me to imagine that one of the 12 best teams wasn't a team that had the ball inside with a chance to, well, not inside, but one of the 12 best teams would have been inside of 10 points of Alabama. Okay. I mean, really, they played Alabama better than anybody during the season last year. So in terms of scoring. All right. So the game was close. It could have actually gone either way, even though Alabama led most of the game. You know, if whoever intercepted that ball, if John, who's that Alabama wide receiver? John Michi doesn't decapitate that poor player coming back on the interception. Who knows? I mean, Florida could have had a lead after that play. They could have had a lead. Okay, Florida certainly would have been in there in the top 12. I would think if you wanted to. I mean, if you take this stuff seriously, you would have had to put Florida somewhere in the top 12, and then they would have traveled to say let's call it the 6th seed or the 5th seed or whatever. However, it would have worked. That would have traveled. They would have traveled and played again. And then you would have had Kyle Pitts playing and Kadarius Toney play. See, that's the thing, isn't it, QB? If you put Florida on the road at wherever, whoever the 5 seed was, you would have had those guys likely play. I think.
Nat says 2 losses. 3rd loss was the bowl game. No, the bowl game was our 4th loss. We already had 3 losses. Yeah,
bowl game.
That's why I wish I saw it in front of me, because it's hard to believe a team at 8-3 making the 12-team playoffs.
I see that.
My point is, I don't care how close the Alabama game was. That's irrelevant.
No, I think it goes down to rankings, and rankings are that's an arbitrary thing. Rankings are what people think you are, and that's why I think Florida would have been thought of as one of the top 12 teams. I think because you have Kyle Trask. You have Kyle Pitts.
I understand all that, JC, but I mean, how many 8-3 teams were ranked in the top 12? I wish we had that information.
I would not think many were, but I mean,
Texas A&M would have definitely gotten in.
I'm doing my best to find. We had Texas A&M. Absolutely, they would have been the 5 team. They would have hosted a game in College Station against,
Dan, okay. So Dan says that we were the 7th ranked team. So we would have been. So we were ranked 7th at 8-3. That's hard to believe.
LSU, Alabama. I'm trying to think. They lost to LSU. They lost to Alabama
and Texas A&M. We were 8-3. I know we were actually.
Yeah.
We were 9-3, right?
There's no doubt they were 9-3. There's no doubt. Do your math, 9-3. So certainly two things that I point out. And the committee would have decided this, and the committee would have said, "Wow, Davis fumbles at Texas A&M. They probably win that game if it doesn't happen." A lot of other things, of course, impacted that game, but that was the biggest play that I think gave Texas A&M that win. So that's one game that Florida easily could have won. And then the Alabama game. So, the only game that Florida really kind of just threw up all over themselves was against LSU. That was it. I mean, after that, Florida had a chance to win every game they played. Maybe not. Well, I mean, the Alabama game, but the LSU game was the only game that I can remember last year that Florida just threw up all over themselves. And A&M was a winnable game. Davis just fumbled the ball. He fumbled the ball, and it happens. It's game.
Yeah,
it's football.
Yeah, that's part of sports. That's
part
what
of
happens.
Football. That's right.
JC, speaking of, so Dan, see, we got these great listeners that do all the research for us. JC, because we're morons.
We're not
Dan
morons.
Says,
we just don't do all that.
Dan says the SEC would have had Bama 1, A&M 5, Florida 7, and Georgia at 9. So Georgia would have made it too.
Yeah, I mean, I've got somewhere in this silly little phone of mine, I've got the what it would have been last year, what it would have been in 19, what it would have been in 18, and I'm running. I for some reason,
That's
maybe
okay.
I don't
It's
have
fine. It's fine. We would have had 4 teams, and that is correct.
Yeah.
I think the SEC has a very good chance of getting 4 teams every year.
Listen, this whole thing, Sankey knew when they came up with this a few weeks ago. This is going to benefit the SEC as much or more than any conference in football. We all know it. Everybody knows it, and that's why you get the Joel Klatts of the world out there in Pac-12 country that say do away with the divisions, just put your best teams in there. This is about inclusion and participation. And now, for some reason, we have a summer committee that is going to fine tune and tweak what they've agreed on. I think in Chicago just the other day, if I'm not mistaken. And here we go. We're going to have a situation, hopefully in 2023. That's one of the things I don't understand either, is why do we have to wait until
2023?
But I think it's because they're trying to incorporate the bowls, figure out who can get how to do all this. For as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't take 2 summers to figure this out.
No, they should start this in 2022.
It could take literally a week if you really put your minds to it. If you sat in that room in Grapevine, Texas, and locked them in there and said, "You guys don't come out until you come up with the right situation. You make the phone calls, do whatever you have to do, but 5 days is all you need to call these other places to work out something and get this done." And I agree. I don't know why it takes till 23, but it's going to be fine-tuned. What I'm hoping that probably won't happen, but that might happen, that I've heard other people agree with, is that somehow they incorporate the top 4 seeds to not just have a bye, but also to have a home playoff game. Because to me, Ohio State, let's just say hypothetically, Alabama, Ohio State, Southern Cal, and another team, let's call it Clemson. If you're telling me that those teams are going to have to play 3 neutral site games to win, even though they have a bye, while these other teams get a home game, something's missing there. So I think you should have at least the top 4 seeds have a chance to have a home game, make the quarterfinal, figure out how to incorporate the bowls into the game before the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals are the games where you get the top 4 seeds to play. Get it done that way. Give them a bye. Give them a home game. That gives you plenty of incentive. That's what they do in the NFL. It gives you plenty of incentive to play your ass off during the regular season and win every game, so you can seed yourself as highly as possible to have a home game against a lower seed and to move into the semifinals. That is the motivation. That would work. If I was in that committee, I'd make every one of those people understand why that works, and they would hear it until I was blue in the face. That's how you got to do it.
They would hear it for sure.
Well, that's how you have to do it, my man. You can't tell me that the 5, 6, 7, and 8 get a home game. Notre Dame gets a home game. You get to sit around and wait, watch them play, and then go travel to Atlanta? No, the fans deserve a home game as a top 4 seeded team. That's what they work for throughout the whole year. Make that happen. Give them a bye week. Make that happen, and figure out how to do it. It's not rocket science. They can figure this out. It's not, getting on Virgin Galactic and going to space and circling the moon, the Earth for a cool $2 million. This is something that's very, very doable. Let it happen.
If you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, You need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics. That's 352-400-4550. Call the good folks at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Speaking with JC, we'll be joined by college sports today. Terry Norvelle talking college football.
Ask him about
college baseball.
Ask
JC, let me ask you this. I want your thoughts. The more I thought about it, Notre Dame will never get a bye. Okay, because they're not in a conference.
Join a conference, correct?
Which is fine.
Yeah, fair.
Because think about this: they already get a bye because they don't play in a championship game.
Sure.
So that's why they will never get a bye. So if you're a Notre Dame fan, you cannot complain.
No,
you're not going to get a bye if you make it into the playoffs because you don't have to play that extra game.
Hey, they're not complaining. They love it because this guy, father, whoever, has figured out that this is a great way for us to be included just about every year and nobody complain about it. And, listen, they defend their schedule every year. I do think that they play, if you want to consider their schedule difficult to them, it's a bunch of different teams from a bunch of different conferences. And certainly they could play in any given year a really tough schedule. But I see why they're happy with this. I also see that they could host a game. That's the thing I'm talking about. So ask Terry, ask anybody you talk to on any of these other shows you go on, hey, do you think the top 4 seeds should get both a bye and a home game? I would bet that the majority of people you ask, if you polled it, would say yes. Because Notre Dame is going to say, let's say they're the 5 seed. Yeah, well, then they get to play a home game. They get to play a home game. They didn't play a championship game, so they had their bye week. Now they get to play a home game. Again, here we go. These kinds of things have to be figured out. They will be. I think we're all on the right track.
They have to be ranked high enough to play a home game.
They're going to be.
They could go on the road.
6, 7, or 8.
Well, they could go on the road.
True, but if they're a good Notre Dame team, if they're a Notre Dame team like last year's team that was competitive, they will be a 5, 6, 7, or 8, and they'll host a game. So, to me, this works out great for them. If they're a 9 through 12, they're just hoping at that point, right? And most 9 through 12s, QB, as well as I do, are not going to win the playoff. They're just not good enough to win the playoff. And it's because of how top-heavy college football has become here in the last 2 decades or last decade. One of the reasons why is because of how top-heavy football is. People are tired of Oklahoma every year, Alabama playing Clemson every year, Ohio State slipping in and getting blown out every year. They're tired of that Clemson game. So this is part of what has created this interest, but I'm saying make it better. Don't give a top 4 seed the opportunity not to have a home game. Give them a home game, get that crowd, that fan base excited about maybe traveling to 2 or 1 neutral site game as opposed to having to worry about playing 3. And that's a lot of neutral site games, dude. That's too many, I think. You got to give the 1 through 4 seeds a little bit more than just a bye week. You got to give them more than that because you played your championship game on a freaking neutral site. So that's another neutral site game. That has to be done. That has to be addressed. I hope these athletic directors are smart enough to figure that out. I'm sure they are, and that's what will happen.
Yeah, Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com, and it's time for the JC and QB's golf picks.
Okay,
we're heading to the Travelers Championship up in Connecticut.
Travelers Championship, yeah.
This is usually one of those guys you never heard of. Usually wins these tournaments after a major. JC, you had a good pick with Rom. Your other 2 players stunk it up. All 3 of mine were stellar.
But actually, I picked, in my opinion, in my little JC world over here, I've picked the winner 2 weeks, out of 3. Because I had Rom in the Memorial. He would have won that.
He didn't win.
Well, he won. And then I had Rom in the U.S. Open. He won that. As far as this tournament here, the Travelers Championship, you say an obscure guy wins. Do you know who the defending champion is, QB?
I do not.
It would be Dustin Johnson.
I didn't even think DJ would go to this event.
So he's at this event. Well, this event used to be kind of nostalgic because it used to be called the Sammy Davis Jr. I think it was the Sammy Davis Jr. Greater Hartford Open. And if it wasn't Sammy Davis Jr.'s Greater Hartford Open, it was somebody's Greater Hartford Open. And it's got some very unique holes over water, around the lakes. It's really kind of a cool
No other
track.
golf courses have that.
No, but I mean, they're unique holes. I know that other golf courses You hit it over the water. You go around lakes. Okay. This course, though, has some very unique and distinct holes that
you're just thinking of the hole that has the lake and it has the big umbrella sitting in the middle of the lake.
I love that. I mean, who doesn't love that, right? I mean, Hartford is known for insurance. So, of course, Travelers is going to be part of that. But that hole, that I think it's 18 or 17 or 18, whatever it is one of the hardest holes that you'll play. And certainly, I think, if Dustin Johnson's going to play in this tournament and win, that's great. But then you also have guys like Tom Hogue. All right. You have guys like Nick Watney and Abraham Answer and Ryan Moore. Yeah, you'll have a lot of those guys play. Nick Lashley. You'll have a lot of those guys play, but then a Justin Rose can pop up and win this thing. So,
all right, so who are you picking with your first pick?
All right, I'm going to go with a guy who I think is going to play better this week is the guy I just mentioned, and that's Justin Rose. He was awful at the U.S. Open. I think he needs to play more tournaments. He's a winner. I'm going with Justin Rose, and then we can watch him talk to Morgan Stanley. Does it right. The commercials that you see every time. I'm with Morgan Stanley. Part of the reasons why
my first pick is Patrick. I'm going with Patrick Cantley. My first pick.
Oh, okay. That Mr. Personality there. That's a good one. Well, look, your favorite golfer Bryson DeChambeau's decided to try it again. But I'm not picking him this week. I'm going to give him a week off from my squad after the way he played that back nine, which was an embarrassment to all golfers. So we're going to give him the week off and not play him. I'm going to take another big underdog, a guy who is capable but has had just tons of injury issues, and that's Jason Day. I don't know when he's going to be back. I don't know if he'll ever be back, but I'm rooting for him because I've always thought his game was really good when he was healthy. So we'll take Jason Day. Hopefully, see if
real quick before I take my next pick, Joseph says Brooks Koepka was asked on ESPN yesterday what the chances of DeChambeau came up to him this weekend with a case of beer and wanted to talk everything out and hash it all out. Would he do it? He said, no chance.
Really?
Yeah, okay. I love it. Okay, so my second pick, I'm taking Matthew Wolff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, solid player. He will break through and win. There's no doubt about it. Brian Gay's in this tournament. Phil Mickelson's in this tournament. I'm going to go with a guy who's won this tournament before, had a pretty good U.S. Open, who has played this course very well, loves playing here, and that's Bubba Watson. I think Bubba's Watson
playing better.
Yeah, I think and he's won this tournament. He knows his course very well. I like his opportunity.
Yeah, even though my favorite golfer Koepka's he's playing, but he don't give a damn about these. He's going for his appearance money.
Take Tony Finau. That guy can light this place up.
He can. I'm gonna go with a young gun though, Scotty Scheffler.
Yep, another good player. I'm not. Can I change a pick, or do I have to stay with what I got?
Well, who do you want now?
I want to take Jason Day off the roster. Okay, everything I said about him, forget it. All right, I'm going to go with Tony Finau.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Tony. Tony Finau,
right, JC.
Bubba Watson, Justin Rose. There you go.
We've rambled long enough. I got to take a break, and I got to come back with Terry Norvelle. Let him tell us some good stuff.
Ask him about that football. Ask him about that football with the I want to watch to see what he says about that 1 through 4 seed thing, if you get to it.
All right, JC. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Yep.
We're going to take our first time out of the program. Come back. We'll be joined by College Sports Today's Terry Norvelle. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Silverback Concrete Company. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
We're looking for all type of restaurant people, managers, servers, bartenders, hosts, cooks, dishwashers, bussers. If you think you're good in the restaurant business, then give us a call.
Spurrier's Gridiron Grill job fair is open now. All you have to do is go to spurriersdraft.com and fill out an application.
We're looking for the good team members, and we're looking for people with a wonderful attitude that can make Spurrier's Gridiron Grill the best we can possibly be. To apply, go to spurriersdraft.com.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate. With premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Les Macarons French Pastries, Kilwins, and coming summer of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visors Tailgate and Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go back to the Take Tomorrow hotline and be joined by the host of College Sports Today, Terry Norvelle. Good morning, Terry. How are you, buddy?
Hey, buddy. How you doing, Shane?
Hanging in there. You know, a lot of sports happened last night. Unfortunately, I missed some of it. I did watch baseball. I want to get your thoughts. I didn't get to see any of Game 1 yesterday, Tennessee against Texas. Just a beatdown, huh?
Yeah, tough 2 games for Tennessee. You know, they're in and out 2 games. A little bit of a bucket of cold water poured on their good season. I think they were a little wide-eyed. Texas is good. Tennessee had a chance early, but Texas just hung in there and really took it to them. So, you know, now Tennessee has to regroup. And one of the hot rumors is, boy, LSU is all over their coach, the Tennessee coach. That would be tough. Tennessee loses a lot of their team, you know, and we're in the portal era, so, you know, you can replace. But Tennessee loses a lot of their good players on this baseball team. You hate to think that, man, if they go out and A, lose their coach would be tragedy, and B, if they don't have a good year next year, all this momentum may be thrown aside. So, yeah, tough break for – it was looking like an ugly day all around for the SEC, but Mississippi State with a great comeback bailed themselves out and the SEC. The SEC came close to going 0-2 yesterday.
Yeah, before we get to the Mississippi State game, back to the LSU coaching job.
Yeah.
I want to say Mike Bianco, who was a former LSU player, the head coach at Ole Miss, turned them down apparently.
Yeah.
So now you think it's a 2-horse race between the Tennessee coach and the Notre Dame coach?
Maybe Link Jarrett, you know, would be a great hire. You're also hearing.
I mean, Link Jarrett's going to lead. I mean, if they offer it, you're getting the hell out of Notre Dame to go coach at LSU.
I mean, Paul Maneri did it after a long time there. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. It's not a baseball power. It's still got work to do. Baseball's not their passions. One of their passion sports. LSU is the total opposite. LSU. People forget now. LSU is the modern baseball equivalent to Alabama football. I mean, LSU won 5 in 16 years, 5 national titles, and you know they were a monster. It's a huge hire for LSU, though. They can't mess this up. They're already right now. They've fallen the last 5 years. They've fallen. Their program is, you know, 5th or 6th in the pecking order in the SEC. They've got to hit right now. If they have the wrong hire, Shane, it may be 5-10 years before LSU gets back to the upper echelon. But, yeah, you definitely take that job if you're Jarrett. Also, the guy getting a little bit of play is the guy from East Carolina, Godwin. He's done real good things there, and he's in that loop. He's tied to all these guys. So other than the College World Series, the big story in college baseball is that LSU job. It's a big job.
Yep. Mississippi State being no hit through roughly 8 innings.
Yeah.
And then their 2 stars, Rowdy Jordan and was it Tyler the Allen kid who was the player of the year, Tanner Allen.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, they score 6 runs there in the 8th and then close it out. You know, I grew up hating Mississippi State because I'm an Ole Miss. I come from an Ole Miss family, but my daughter went to Mississippi State. I've started to like Mississippi State. I've always liked their baseball.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, they're the only school, I believe, in the SEC. Now, not counting Missouri and those, but the original SEC that has not won a national title in any sport. I believe Mississippi State is the only one.
Yes, they are.
And this could be their year.
Yeah.
They sit in the driver's seat now, right?
Yeah, they are. After that win last night, they moved to the driver's seat. Now it may last, 48 hours. But what a contrast in the Tennessee baseball team that went out to Omaha O2 barbecue. They're done because it's all new to them. Versus that is a veteran Mississippi State team, and you mentioned Rowdy and those guys. They've been out there 3 years in a row. A lot of veterans. They had that just hang around attitude last night. Virginia played so well, and their starter threw so well. No hit them through 8 going into the 8, but they hung around. You could see that veteran leadership at Mississippi State. They hung around, got a big hit, a home run to cut it 4-2, and then they got into the bullpen. The starter for Virginia finally had to come out. And speaking of bullpens, Mississippi State's bullpen won the game for them last night. It was 4-0 for the longest time, and the starter was out in the second inning for State, and they held it together. Those middle 3 or 4 innings, Virginia did not add to the 4-0 lead, and that was the game. They kept it in the ballpark there at 4-0, and State showed great veteran leadership. They've been out there before. They were not wide-eyed. That was a big win. State now is in the driver's seat, depending on what happens their next game Friday.
Yeah, and on the other side of the bracket, Vanderbilt, I was surprised. Leiter threw a gem and just lost. Yeah. That's baseball. The other guy just pitched a little bit better, and they got some timely hits. So I still personally think Vanderbilt's going to find a way to come out of that side. However, NC State,
they're fun.
But between NC State and Virginia, these are two teams that weren't even ranked. And here they are in the College World Series.
Yeah, so many similarities, I think, between NC State and Virginia. Obviously, both ACC schools, both scuffled around. Mid-season, you weren't sure either one of them was going to get into the tournament. They scuffled around, and they're both play tough. That NC State team, they play tough, and boy, you can see it. Boy, it's building mentally. They think something good's going to happen to them. I don't think Virginia's out. Virginia's fun to watch too, but NC State, man, they only play like 10 guys. The 9 guys, the starting rotation, and the 9 guys. They don't play many guys, but man, they are fun. They're gonna be hard to beat. I'm with you though. I don't see Vanderbilt getting 2 hit anywhere the rest of the way. They got 2 hits. Coincidentally, that fell on the night that Leiter had a great game, but not quite good enough. Yeah, Vanderbilt's going to be a tough out. You got Stanford-Vanderbilt elimination game today, 1 game. Tomorrow, Thursday, Texas-Virginia elimination game, 1 game. So 1 game the next 2 nights. NC State and Mississippi State get 3 and 2 days off. They sit on Friday waiting to see who they will play. Now, they'll have to get beat twice. They'll have to get beat. NC State and Mississippi State will have to get beat Friday and Saturday. They just need 1. And then they would move on. So, yeah, we're starting to eliminate teams. 2 have gone home. 6 are still alive.
At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Terry Norvelle, the host of College Sports Today here on the Titan MR Hotline. Switching gears a little bit, Terry, let everybody know what happened with the NCAA. I guess it was a few days ago.
Yeah. Just another step in college athletics becoming, I think, professional athletics and sports and compensation. The Supreme Court basically in a 9-0 ruling said that the colleges cannot limit. There can't be a limit on what they can provide the student athletes. Shane, in a nutshell, everything is going to be passed. It's just a matter of when it comes up. The NIL is going to get squared away and passed. Everything's in place for student athletes to cut deals, ask their universities to say, hey, treat us like employees, pay us. That's all coming. It's all coming, Shane. It was just a formality. I'm worried to death the history or the future of college sports, but it was just a formality. Nothing, Shane's going to come out and not get passed. Everything you've heard about is going to get passed. The biggest concern down the road is unionization, and we may not have time to get into that. But if the student athlete is allowed to unionize, then you don't unionize as amateurs. Professional employees unionize. That opens up a whole different can of worms. Shane, I'm scared for the future of college sports, and I truly mean that.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I agree that college athletes should get something, and they do get something now. They get the price of attendance, they get Pell Grant, they get other things. I've seen some athletes on Twitter, contact me, direct message me if you want me to do something for your business or buy my apparel or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I just don't know if all the athletes are going to get what they think they're going to get. And I think so many of them are going to be disappointed.
They're not. Here's the big concern I've got, Shane, though, that no one is considering all this newness that's going to happen to college sports from the fan's perspective. The fan makes it all go. The fan is where the money comes from. Here's the issue, Shane. I think people think all this is going to get passed and athletes may negotiate with their schools and the schools have to pay and NIL and all this. Everybody, I think, out there is assuming the fans just going to accept all this. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think there's a great chance the fans are going to look up and go, wait a minute. These guys wearing the Gator uniform, the Bulldog uniform, the Alabama uniform, the UCLA uniform, they're just pro athletes now. Be careful that the essence of college sports is gone. There's got to be a reason and a difference between professional sports and college sports. If not, I think the fan may bail out on this and go, you know what? That special third Saturday in October, Tennessee and Alabama get together. That's just pro players now. Shane, I think that, win one for the Gipper, go State U, all that pomp and circumstance and passion, there's a good chance that goes away. That fan also may say, wait a minute, I'm also a donor. Think about the thousands upon thousands of donors that send money every year to their favorite program, maybe their old school or their favorite school's athletic budget, right? They send in money. That donor could very well sit back and go, wait a minute. Why am I helping send? These guys make money. They're pro athletes. I don't send money to help Emmitt Smith when he was with the Cowboys. Shane, there's a lot of stuff. I think the fan could easily get turned off. I mean, you look at the baseball game that comes through Jacksonville once a year. Florida State play baseball. Well, there's also a minor league team here in Jacksonville. If the Florida State game that comes through here, why do I want to go see that if they're all paid professional athletes? That's called minor league baseball. Shane, I worry. I worry, man, if the fan is going to still say, the passion's not there. These guys are just professional athletes. And be careful what you wish for. Getting 100% of nothing is getting nothing. Be careful what you wish for.
John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, only 19 states have passed the NIL so far. NIL, yeah. Do you see a lot of transfers because of this? Possibly. Here would be a very interesting scenario just popped in my head. What if all the Power 5 schools could not have the name, image, and likeness, but all the Group of 5 and everybody else could? How about that?
Would switch the dynamic, wouldn't it?
But my point to that is, do you think a 5-star kid would go play at Cincinnati because he could be being paid?
Yeah.
Or instead of going to Ohio State?
If he's got a deal in place, it would be simple finances, which is why Mark Emmert, God bless him, he's getting hammered. The NCAA is in a tough spot here, but very tough spot. But Mark Emmert is saying, hey, man, Congress, we need you to step in and pass a across the board July 1st. Everybody accepts it. And they're still working out all the details, but July 1st is here. Those states have already said they're going to do it. So, yeah, he needs help. The NCAA, think about where the NCAA is at. They have been formed for over 100 years to govern amateur athletics. That's the basic of what they are there for, to govern amateur athletics. When players start getting paid, they're professional athletes. You can't be sort of pregnant. Well, you can't be sort of an amateur. Here's the NCAA. Think about it. Shane, I'll put this in an analogy. The NCAA has been a roofing company for the last 100 years, and they're now being told, hey, by the way, Monday, you got to get in the plumbing business. Wait a minute. We're not in we don't do plumbing. We haven't done plumbing. Well, you got to do it starting Monday. The NCAA has governed amateur, not professional. It's totally, it's tough. It is tough. Also, Shane, when all this passes, okay, money, and you can make money, and schools will have to pay and pay athletes. What is considered cheating? What will be considered cheating? Is it just let it go? What is cheating? Number one. Number two, if you think you have trouble getting wink wink student athletes to go to class now, are they going to bother going to class? You talk about bogus grades, bogus classes. So we get back to what I'm saying. Okay, so getting these guys paid may take all the facade of student. Hey, forget the student part. That may piss the fan off, and they go, that's just professional sports. I don't have the passion anymore. All those guys are doing are they're professional athletes wearing the college logo. Is that enough for the fan? I don't know. It may piss the fan off. And don't forget, the fan is where the money comes from. I don't care in the pros or hey, the NFL owners, they need the fans. These schools, the fans are because the fans, Shane, I've said it for years. The NFL, college sports, the NFL is not in the football business. The NFL is not in the football business. They are in the eyeball business. They deliver eyeballs, and there's value in delivering eyeballs. When the fan goes away at the college level, the money goes away. Shane, I sound like Chicken Little, but I'm telling you, I don't know where we're going to be in 5 years. College sports may have cannibalized themselves with this. I'm just saying, and I'm for the player, but be careful what you ask for. Sometimes it bites you in the ass.
Yeah, I agree. Correct me if I'm wrong. The name, image, and likeness goes into effect July 1, correct?
In certain states. Every state hasn't passed that. Again, Emirates is saying, hey, we need to make sure all your institutions say, hey, if your state hadn't passed it, we need you to come on board, though. Yeah, that's the big issue. Now, everybody says, well, why didn't the NCAA get ahead of this? Don't forget there was a pandemic last year, okay? That pushed everything back. All this was supposed to be done a year ago at all. It's tough, Shane. Yeah, it starts July 1. There needs to be some kind of emergency. Everybody's coming on board July 1. Right now, no. What the scenario you said could happen as of July 1.
Yeah, Terry, real quick, we only got a few more minutes, and I want to bring something up that you're doing over there in Jacksonville. But real quick, on the playoff scenario, and we'll get you back on to talk more in depth about it. Do you think the 4 teams that get a bye, do you think their first game should be an on-campus game instead of them having to travel to a neutral site?
I would like to see that. I differ. Our buddy Frank Frangie thinks just the opposite. He thinks college football neutral site games are huge. I think the beauty of college football is a home game. Unlike some of the neutral site games and obviously playoff games, but I think some of the huge games need to be on campus. And you know what? If you are one of the top 4, you deserve a home game, I think. Now, I might distribute the tickets a little more equitable if it's a playoff game. But yeah, I want the big boys. Their first game should be on campus. I don't think they should be punished and be forced to go to a neutral site venue. Just my thought. I love the on-campus games.
I agree. Let everybody know you're an old Jacksonville boy. You got some new cool T-shirts that you're putting out there.
Yeah, we started a fun little apparel company called Duval Pride T-shirt Company, and it's built kind of around the Jaguars. We've got a neat little Duval design that goes on the front, and you can customize it wherever your location inside Duval is. You can put your special location, west side, north side, south side, Bay Meadows. We've also got businesses that want to put their name in there as well to customize the shirt. It's a lot of fun. You can follow it. The online store is open. Follow them on Facebook at Duval Pride T-shirt Company, and you can order right there. Really kind of a neat Jaguar-based T-shirt that's Duval Pride. I don't know if you know this. Duval is the biggest county in the country. I don't know if you knew that, Shane. In terms of size-wise, it's big. They're proud now, Duval, and check it out. Duval Pride T-shirt Company on Facebook. The store is there as well. Thank you for letting me mention that.
Absolutely, Terry. We ran out of time, man. Good stuff. We'll get you back on because this stuff is changing daily, it seems like. But good stuff. Let everybody also know how they can check out College Sports Today before we let you go.
Yeah, follow us every and watch the show live every Monday and Friday, 11 a.m. Shane, you're one of our co-hosts, Coach Spurrier, as well. So every Monday and Friday on Facebook Live, follow it, and also YouTube. College Sports Today. Coach Spurrier this past Monday was unreal walking down his coaching stops. I learned so much. Fun show. You make it go. Shane, thank you for letting me mention that as well.
No doubt about it. Terry, appreciate it, buddy. Be safe. We'll see you on down the road.
Sounds good.
That's Terry Norvelle. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. We appreciate everybody joining the program today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Brent Beer will be joining us, our college football analyst. He'll have a lot to talk about because college football is changing as we speak. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Rat Spot. Enjoy your day.